I am not setting up my camera for this. Maybe I should have, and all my other equipment, but I am going to make a quick, well, I say it's going to be quick. May not be that quick, but let's talk Christians and mental health, shall we? There's this thing called balance. Most people struggle with that. I struggle with that. Okay. As someone who, if you've been following my channel for any amount of time, I don't know where to look. If you've been following my channel for any amount of time, you know that I have wrestled with OCD or religious OCD. OCD has multiple subtypes, and the type that I wrestle with, religious. And I broke down probably September or August of 2023, and it was a brutal 2.5 years. And I didn't take medicine for two of those years because I was afraid to take medication, because I was afraid that it meant I did not have enough faith. Now, I am a continuationist. I do believe that demons are still out there. I do believe that demonic oppression, possession, still a thing. However, when we overgeneralize and make broad sweeping statements, we are wrong. We're wrong. So, this woman who preaches, Millicent Cedra, I have agreed with some of the things I've heard her say. I can't say that I listened to her really but a few clips on social media. But she said that demons are hiding under the name of mental health. I just want to say this. Jesus knew the difference, discerned the difference between an infirmity and a demon. Can demons cause sickness? Yes. Does this mean that every sickness is a demon? No. Can demons cause mental issues? Yes. Does that mean that all mental issues are demons? No. That's laziness. It's laziness. And this is part of the reason why God has taken me on a journey into the mental health field. That and he's given me a dream and a vision and a passion for this, because if we're not careful, we will really isolate and really traumatize and harm people who have genuine issues that are not demonic in themselves. We live in a fallen world. Let's remember that. We live in a fallen world. Hearts fail, kidneys fail, livers fail, lungs fail. People get cancer. People get diabetes. People have high blood pressure. Like the gambit of things. No one bats an eye at this, and yet someone has brain issues, and it's all then it's a demon. It's a demon. And you better not take medication, or you don't have enough faith. Now let me be very clear, and that I do absolutely believe that God can and does heal today. But sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he doesn't. And we have to trust him in that. Medication is overprescribed. Antibiotics are overprescribed. What is the answer to that? The answer to that is reform, not mixing it all together. That's not wisdom. That's laziness. This is a problem. I'm serious. Are there times where therapy is needed? Yes. Here's the thing. I believe ultimately for all things, Jesus is the answer. He's a redeemer and he's a restorer. In this life, you will suffer. God is not going to snatch you out of all suffering every time. He will see you through it. But I don't know about you, but I have learned more lessons in my suffering than I did in my delivering. In other words, I learned more when God did not deliver me from something, but he delivered me through something. The way the church approaches suffering needs to be addressed. The way the church approaches mental health, it needs to be addressed. But it's a case-by-case scenario. It is literally a case-by-case scenario. So making broad, sweeping generalizations is harmful. It's like saying, I recognize that my feelings should not be in the front seat, but that doesn't mean that feelings are bad. It's just that they don't need to be in the front seat driving the car. God gave you feelings and emotions for a reason, but they are not meant to control you. Logic. Logic is good. But sometimes our logic and human reasoning can actually be to our detriment, depending on the situation. Not always, because God gave us minds and logic for a reason. If you're a Christian and you've suffered with your mental health and you've had people that tell you it's because you don't have enough faith, you have a demon, you better not take medication, I am sorry. Is medication the answer? No. Medication's rarely the answer. Majority of the time, unless you have a true 100% like chemical imbalance in your brain, and some things are still somewhat of an imbalance in the brain, but can still be helped with coping mechanisms. And so I believe that the church really needs to position itself appropriately. The mental health world is, things are complex. We are exposed to way more than any other generation ever to live. And trauma is a real thing. Is the word trauma overused? Probably. But that doesn't mean that there's no such thing as trauma. But the fact of the matter is, most of the time, with mental health, there's a deep work that needs to be done. It is very harmful. I am very upset at comments like what Todd White said, throw your medicine away, put it in the toilet, and apologize to your toilet. There are people that if they did that, they would die. Be in the hospital. There's medications that you should not stop cold turkey. That's not faith. Let me clarify something, okay? God blesses it when it's his will. So you don't control God. You walk in step with his will. Moses had faith and believed that he knew that calling was in him to deliver the children of Israel when he was in the palace. But he did it his own way, and God was not in that. So it didn't work, and he wound up in the wilderness. Faith to believe that God can heal is great, but we have to be in step with the Holy Spirit, because sometimes it is not God's will to heal. But we have to, in that, grow in maturity and understand that God is always good. I am thankful that God allowed me to deal with what I dealt with. I am thankful for it. It was horrible. Do I want to go back and go through it again? Heck no. But I'm so grateful for it because I learned so much more there about who he is and who I am to him. Changed my life. But that meant that God knew that my suffering was more beneficial to me than my deliverance. And if he had delivered me from my suffering, he would have short-circuited what he was trying to do. We must be in step with the Spirit. We need to stop making generalizations, broad sweepings, like this is why I plan to go into the mental health field. I'm in school now because I want to use a holistic approach, which is body, mind, and spirit. Like, okay, is your issue, it's always going to have some level of spirituality, but is it really genuinely a brain chemistry issue? Is it a trauma issue? If it is, coming in a holistic manner, but that takes time, and it takes slowing down, and it takes addressing the individual in front of you, and not taking what I do with this person and doing it with everybody, because everybody is different and everybody's story is different. And that takes time, and it takes energy, and it takes intentionality. Do some people take medication instead of doing the harder work? Yes, that's the easier thing to do. But the fact of the matter is, medication only covers up the symptom. But do some people really need medication to function? Yes, they do. And it's not their fault. They were born in a fallen world. Not their fault. Things are rarely as black and white as we'd like them to be. And we do great harm when we make complicated things more simple, oversimplify what's complicated, and overcomplicate what's simple. We do a disservice and a harm to those in our care, to our friends who are asking for help. I think that's it. I've had people come to me in Messenger and say, "Hey, I am so glad you're speaking up on this," because they struggled in the dark by themselves and had people make them feel like something was wrong with them. They didn't have enough faith. They were being rebellious, or they were this, or they were that, and it only caused them harm. And I promise you, the Lord was not pleased with that, because you matter. You matter. We are made in the Imago Dei. We are made in the image of God. And you are not less than because you struggle. You live in a fallen world. Maturity is this. And I've heard people say things, and at first I was like, yeah. And then I thought about it later. praying, I can't remember who I heard say that, but praying, if it be your will, heal them. That's the lazy way. No, it's not. Maturity says, God, this is all your will. And if you say no, I am going to trust you. I'm going to trust that you're good. I'm going to trust that Romans 8:28 says that you work all things out for our good. And so if you're allowing it to continue, it's not because I don't have enough faith. Is that sometimes the case? Sometimes, but not all the time. Maturity says, Lord, I absolutely 1,000% believe that you can heal me. And I would like for you to do that. But if you don't, I'm still going to trust you. That's a mature faith, because you know the character and the nature of the one whom you serve, that he is good and he means for your good, not for your harm. I think I'm probably addressing a few things right now. Nevertheless, I probably don't have a one or two person, maybe, I don't know. Nevertheless, I love you guys. It's so funny because I relate so much, not that I'm Moses, or not that I'm anything like Moses, but the Lord gave me many dreams when I was younger. And it's funny to me because, well, like Joseph, like you get this dream and then you think literal dreams. And then you think it's going to look a certain way, but it doesn't look at all like what you thought it would. That's very typical of the Lord. And a lot of times he has to burn all that self-sustaining, that independent spirit, that your way, he's got to burn it out of you. And then he's like, okay, now I can work through that. Because you know it's not you, it's me. And that's both humbling and securing. Like, this is not my call. This is not my mission. This is his. And I'm just yielding to that and trusting that he is the one that does the work. Anyway, I think I'm done. Maybe. I don't know. Love y'all. Mean it. If you're struggling, he's not left you and he's not forsaken you. And I know it's painful, but he's ever-present help in time of trouble. Love you guys.